On the morning of September 20th, 1988, 19-year-old Tara Calico left her home in Belen, New Mexico, for her usual bike ride along State Road 47. Since her own bicycle had a flat tire, she borrowed her mother's neon pink Huffy. Tara told her mother she'd be back by noon to play tennis, but she never returned. By 3 p.m., with no sign of her, Tara's mother reported her missing. Later, searchers found pieces of Tara's Sony Walkman and a cassette tape scattered along the side of the road. Some believe she may have dropped them intentionally, as if trying to leave a trail. Witnesses reported seeing her riding alone around 11:45 a.m., while others noticed a dirty, light-colored pickup truck with a camper shell following closely behind. That narrow time frame remains one of the case's most critical clues. Almost a year later, in a parking lot in Port St. Joe, Florida, someone found a chilling Polaroid photograph. It showed a young woman and a boy, both bound and gagged in the back of a van. Tara's family believed the woman bore a strong resemblance to her, even pointing out a scar on the woman's leg that matched Tara's. But experts disagreed. Scotland Yard believed it could be Tara. The Los Alamos National Laboratory said it was not. The FBI ultimately concluded that the image was inconclusive. In 2013, a cold case task force reopened the investigation. Then, in June 2023, authorities announced they had gathered enough evidence to possibly move forward with prosecution. However, the names of several persons of interest remain sealed by court order. Law enforcement still believes that locating Tara's remains, or even just her bicycle, could be key to finally uncovering the truth. Sister Catherine Cesnik, often remembered as Sister Cathy, was a young nun and high school teacher in Baltimore. She taught English and drama at Archbishop Keough High School, where her students admired her deeply for her compassion and intelligence. On the evening of November 7th, 1969, Sister Cathy left her apartment to run a few errands. She planned to cash a paycheck, pick up some bakery rolls, and buy an engagement gift for her sister. But she never came home. Her car was later discovered abandoned near her apartment. The keys were missing, there was mud on the tires, and leaves scattered inside. There were no signs of a struggle. For nearly 2 months, her whereabouts remained a mystery. Then, on January 3, 1970, hunters stumbled upon her body in a remote area of Lansdowne, Maryland. She had suffered a fractured skull and a fatal brain hemorrhage. She was just 26 years old. The case stunned the city, but police found few leads. In the 1990s, the investigation took a dark turn. Several former students from the school came forward with serious allegations of abuse by Father Joseph Maskell, a priest at the school. One student claimed she had confided in Sister Cathy about the abuse, and that, not long after, Father Maskell had taken her to see Cathy's lifeless body to frighten her into silence. These claims suggested that Sister Cathy may have been killed because she tried to protect her students. The 2017 Netflix documentary The Keepers brought renewed attention to the case. It featured interviews with former students, law enforcement officials, and Cathy's sister. In a dramatic twist, Maskell's body was exhumed in 2017 for DNA testing. The results didn't match evidence from the crime scene, and no charges were filed. To this day, Sister Catherine Cesnik's murder remains unsolved. The case is still open, and many see it as a haunting story of abuse, silence, and cover-up. Decades later, one question still remains. Who killed Sister Cathy? And more importantly, who's been hiding the truth all these years? On the morning of June 13, 2001, 19-year-old Jason Jolkowski vanished without a trace while walking through his Omaha neighborhood. That day, Jason received a call from his job at Fazoli's, asking if he could come in early. Without a car, his was in the shop, he made plans to meet a coworker at Benson High School, just 8 blocks from his house. Around 10:45 a.m., a neighbor saw Jason helping his younger brother bring in trash cans. That was the last confirmed sighting of him. He never made it to the school, and by 11:30 a.m., his coworker called wondering where he was. Jason had seemingly disappeared during the short walk. Surveillance cameras at the school didn't capture him arriving. His last paychecks went uncollected, and neither his bank account nor cell phone showed any activity after that morning. Jason had no history of running away, but police delayed launching a full investigation. Over the years, every theory, from abduction to foul play, has remained unconfirmed. No witnesses ever came forward. No physical evidence was found. In response, Jason's parents launched Project Jason, an organization dedicated to supporting families of missing persons. Their advocacy helped pass Jason's Law, creating a statewide missing persons database in Nebraska. Despite these efforts, Jason's case remains unsolved more than 2 decades later. He disappeared in broad daylight, in a familiar, safe neighborhood, and then was simply gone. It remains one of Nebraska's most unsettling and baffling cold cases. Dr. Ann Phillip, a 31-year-old physician, lived with her husband in Battery Park City, just 2 blocks from the World Trade Center. On the night of September 10, 2001, while her husband was at work, Ann stayed home. That evening, she was captured on a department store's security camera, buying clothes and personal items, her last confirmed sighting. When her husband returned home later that night and found the apartment empty, he assumed she was staying with friends. But the following morning, as the tragic events of September 11th unfolded, he desperately searched for her throughout the city. Eventually, he made it back to their apartment, which appeared untouched. There were paw prints from their 2 cats in the dust, but no indication that Ann had returned. Initially, authorities believed she had perished in the collapse of the Twin Towers. Her name was added to the official list of victims. However, in 2004, her name was removed due to the absence of physical evidence. Her family contested the decision, and in 2008, a New York court formally recognized her as a victim of the attacks. Still, questions linger. Investigators uncovered personal and legal troubles Ann had been facing before her disappearance, leading to speculation that she may have gone missing for unrelated reasons or fallen victim to foul play. Surveillance footage showed a woman matching her description entering the apartment building at 8:43 a.m. on September 11th, but the video quality left her identity unconfirmed. No remains have ever been found, and no definitive answers have surfaced. To this day, Dr. Ann Phillip's disappearance remains one of the most unsettling and mysterious cases connected to September 11th. Kanika Powell was a 28-year-old military veteran working as a security contractor at Johns Hopkins University's Applied Physics Laboratory in Maryland. Her work involved highly sensitive national security projects, and she held top-secret clearance. On August 23, 2008, a man came to her apartment door claiming to be from the FBI. He knew her name, but refused to present any identification. Cautious and alert, Kanika did not open the door. Instead, she contacted the police and filed a formal report. In the days that followed, 2 more men came to her door on separate occasions. Each claimed to be delivering a package, yet neither wore a uniform, carried a delivery badge, or arrived in a marked vehicle. Once again, Kanika refused to engage with them and reported both incidents. Deeply unsettled by these encounters, she emailed her friends, warning them about the suspicious visits and asking them to circulate her message in case anything happened to her. On August 28th, around midday, Kanika was ambushed just outside her apartment. A neighbor heard her scream, followed by several gunshots. She had been shot multiple times. Her wallet and keys were found beside her, untouched, and nothing was stolen. Investigators quickly ruled out robbery and believed the attack was deliberate. Kanika was rushed to the hospital, but despite efforts to save her, she died the following day. To this day, no suspects have been arrested, no weapon has been found, and the identities of the men who approached her remain unknown. Given her classified work and the suspicious visits leading up to her death, some believe her murder may have been connected to her job. Others suspect she was stalked and targeted. Her case remains unsolved, and her family continues to search for answers. In June 2014, Derek and Maria Broaddus purchased what they thought was their dream home, a spacious 6-bedroom property at 657 Boulevard in the quiet town of Westfield, New Jersey. But only days after the sale went through, something unsettling arrived in their mailbox. It was a letter addressed simply to the new owner and signed by someone calling themselves the Watcher. The writer claimed their family had been keeping an eye on the house for decades, and that they were now waiting for young blood to arrive. More letters soon followed, each one more disturbing than the last. They described the Broaddus children in unsettling detail, mentioning their nicknames, ages, and even their daily activities. The notes questioned which bedrooms the kids might sleep in and hinted at whether they would be safe there. It felt deeply personal and threatening. Fear quickly took over. Even after pouring a significant amount of money into the home, the family never moved in. They turned to the police for help and hired private investigators. Several neighbors came under suspicion. The previous owners admitted they too had received a letter before moving out, but nothing had ever come of it. No suspect was ever identified. Then, in 2018, a lengthy New York Magazine article thrust the story into the public eye. 4 years later, Netflix released The Watcher, a dramatized series inspired by the events. While the show changed names and added fictional elements, the chilling sense of dread was drawn straight from reality. By 2019, the Broadduses sold the house at a loss. Since then, no new letters have surfaced. Still, the mystery remains unsolved. Who is the Watcher? Why did they choose that house? And are they still out there?